What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin Cash today. It is the 28th day of November. Shout out to the Dragon Riders in the House of the Dragon. Here we are at about $542 right now. 8 hours and 2 minutes left in the day. Hit that like button, subscribe. Let's get into it, my friends. Here we are, consolidating at the top of prior points of resistance. We're finding support now, which is good to see. We're also finding support at the basically literally at this trend line that we just broke out of. So we broke out of this horizontal level here. As far as resistance goes, let me see if I can bring it back here. Resistance goes there. We broke out of this on the horizontal scale, back testing that for support. We broke out of the diagonal trend to the downside and back tested that for support. The next part that's coming is likely going to take us above this high. And with that comes a greater move. I mean, just imagine here, we move up and we're somewhere above this high. Far above this high, just above this high. Who cares? Because at that point, Pandora's box is opened and we are really getting some separation. Imagine the price is right there, okay? Right there. And then understand the correlation between where we are there and what we're doing here, right? We're breaking out. And this breakout, this move that has yet to come, which we don't know how high it'll be. Maybe it's only here. Probably we're going to go up to around $4,000 or higher. That's my expectation, but time will tell. It really could be a move that's like this overall. But what we're doing here is breaking out of a multi-year, lifelong, historical, multi-cycle trend. Consolidation phase, right? It's not a downtrend. It's a downward sloping trending line there, but we've got higher lows here. It's no more a downtrend than it is an uptrend. It's just a consolidation phase. We're about to break out of that. I can't imagine that it's going to be anything minor or insignificant or semi-significant, right? It's going to be very significant. We're talking about potentially this setup here does not happen, but once in a lifetime, apparently. This is literally once in a lifetime for Bitcoin Cash. If we were to ever have a setup like this again, it would take several cycles, multiple cycles. 2 bear markets, part of a bull market, 2 bull markets, 2 full bull markets maybe, multiple cycles before we actually get a setup like this again. This kind of setup does not happen all the time, and when we break, we likely get a very significant break. That's all I'm trying to say here. Something that will eclipse this high, rival this high, and perhaps even break it. Why wouldn't the biggest move that a chart has ever seen correlate or come in as soon as you're breaking out of a lifelong historical consolidation phase? Like, it makes the most sense. If this isn't the biggest move Bitcoin Cash has ever seen, it will be one of the biggest moves that it has ever seen. And again, I'm comparing what we're about to do to this over here. From a low to a high, you did a 14x. Right? From the same, this isn't like all-time highs new. I mean, that was your all-time high, but I'm not talking about doing a 14x when we're worth $13,000 or $20,000. No, I'm talking about it from the current prices like we were back here. We did a 14x in 3 months. This move that's coming will rival this, if not surpass this. That's what's happening, and of course it would. I want to look at the short-term stuff. I don't want to get too preachy here. I want to stay focused. $542 here. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame and then we'll zoom out from there. I do want to look at the BCH BTC chart as well. 1 hour time frame. The RSI is neutral. We know it's neutral because you're rejecting the overbought zone and the oversold zone, really just kind of ping-ponging between these. Volatile, a little bit volatile, but Bitcoin Cash is volatile. It's built in its DNA to be volatile. Higher lows, higher highs here. Looking like it does want to move higher. Stochastics look bullish. And the MACD, while you did cross below the zero, I would still say you're basically finding support around the zero. And I think you want to move higher. So all good things. All good things. Here at 542, I doubt we will be below 550 for too much longer. I think that we will see prices above there probably by the end of today, if not going into tomorrow, certainly. And that this every attempt that we have up here is just a closer. We're that much closer to this breakout. I really do think that once we break above this, once we are above $600 again, we're opening up Pandora's box and we're setting forth a chain of events that just can't be undone. Okay, it's like is that the Lord of the Rings? Is that the Lord of the Rings? Yeah, it is. There's a chain of events that have been set in motion that can't be undone. Gandalf says that, or it's something like that. I'm not quoting it exactly right. Forgive me, any of my LOTR fans. Anyways, 1 hour time frame looks good. Looks like we want to continue moving higher. 4 hour time frame here. Bouncing off the 50, bouncing off the 50, bouncing off the 0 after crossing above it. All good things. Consolidating, finding support above or at prior areas of resistance. Good things here. It looks like you are in the midst of a bull flag pattern right here. And it's very common. Bull flags, they do this thing where it's like you think you have the initial flag here, you think that's it, but then you break out and really it's just you're in a bigger flag. Really, this is the flag overall. So I think we're in a bull flag here. And again, the measure move of this pattern, if and when we do break out to the upside, the expectation is that we would see something at about $660 or higher, right? Something above this high. I can't imagine that Bitcoin Cash gets up here and then it breaks down and goes to 0. Maybe we find a little turbulence or whatever. Maybe we just blast through it. But this is a starting point. Even though it's the measure move and that's the ending point of this measure move, it's more of a starting point for this next voluptuous move, this very biggest, potentially, if not second biggest move that Bitcoin Cash will ever see in its entire life. It's all a starting point here with this bull flag break of a pattern. So we're just waiting on prices really to get above, I'd say about 550. Once we get above 550, man, there's no going back. It's going to be intense, immense, stupendous. All the great words, all the enduses. Horrendous, yes, even horrendous, but for the bears or the doubters, the haters, the disbelievers. Daily time frame. Looking at this here. Daily RSI is, in all fairness, it's kind of bearish but neutral. I mean, the reason why it's kind of bearish is because you're getting oversold and you're not getting overbought. Neutral because obviously you're not getting oversold now or overbought. It's been a little while. It's been like a month that you haven't gotten oversold or overbought. You're kind of ping-ponging between these areas. But technically, right, you had lower lows and lower highs. You're neutral on your daily RSI. Truly you are neutral. But I think that we have some bullish implications here. And right now you do have, to be fair, higher lows. You don't really have higher highs, but still higher lows coming in here. I think that we're about to break out to the upside. It's a neutral stance, let's be fair. And the price has been neutral, so that's fair. The stochastics are bullish. The MACD just crossed above the 0, which is also bullish on the daily time frame. I can't imagine that we'll be here for too much longer. We should see some growth. The last time that we crossed above the 0 was over here. And that, just for reference, I mean, look at what happened back here, okay? Let me zoom in. Let me just zoom in here. So when we crossed above the 0, we had an initial move that was a nice pop. We moved sideways for about a week, and then slowly but surely we just started a move up. This cross above the 0, which happened right here on the MACD, on this indicator, was the literal starting point of a move that took us all the way up to $653 from a low of $250 over the coming months, right? We're doing that now. We're breaking above the 0 now. I would imagine that the move that's coming next will be much larger, because again, what we're doing here is we're pulling back from prior areas. We're pulling back from these downward sloping movements, right? That's what we're doing here. What we're doing here, it'll be different than what we're doing here, right? Because we'll be breaking out of a lifelong historical consolidation area, right? We've already broken out of it. We're just waiting for the move to come, and it's coming. It's coming very, very fast. It's going to come all over the place, man. And you're not ready. I'm not ready. We've been stacking Bitcoin Cash this whole cycle and buying and only buying and not selling a single bit, not trading, just buying. I trade Bitcoin Cash a little bit here, but we got the buyback. It's actually a very fun coin to trade, I think. But you got to have a hodl bag. When this thing pumps, it's just going to be spectacular. I forgot where I was going with that, but I'm basically at the end of my ropes here, so I'll probably just end the video there. I do want to talk about the BCH BTC chart. I do want to look at that. There's nothing, I don't know, I haven't seen anything on this chart yet that I think is important, but I want to see if there is anything important that we might have overlooked recently. 4 hour time frame. You've got a bit of a bull flag look here. I mean, lower lows. It does look like a little a bullish phase of consolidation, right? Bouncing off the oversold zone, lower lows in the RSI, higher lows in the price. Bullish divergence on the stochastics. Bullish divergence on the MACD on the 4 hour time frame. Daily time frame, the MACD is about to touch. Typically, whenever you do this, it's actually a good place to bounce. If you're trending, like if you're trending down, you come close to touching, and that's whenever you actually move down. So getting close and ready to bounce. which makes a lot of sense because if we're looking at this on the weekly time frame, let's see. I thought that we were more finding support at prior resistance, but maybe not. Maybe not. That's okay. Looking at this from a high to a low, golden ratio, go down to the 0.5 and then bounce from there. It's very common to hit the golden ratio, bounce at the 0.5 and then go. So we might see Bitcoin outpace Bitcoin Cash here over the next couple of days. It is the 28th. It is Friday. Tomorrow is Saturday and the next day is Sunday. So maybe over the weekend, Bitcoin Cash gets outpaced by Bitcoin a little bit to bring it down to its 0.5382 area. It's very common to see that. And then from there, we should rally. From there, Bitcoin Cash should be rallying versus Bitcoin, which this rally, if I'm not mistaken, should be something on the lines of a 40 to 60% pump versus Bitcoin. If Bitcoin Cash is pumping 40 to 60% versus Bitcoin, we likely see something greater than that here. Let's just imagine Bitcoin Cash. If Bitcoin Cash pumped versus Bitcoin 40%, Bitcoin Cash itself would likely be above $770. We are potentially 2 days, a week, somewhere in that time frame from establishing the low before we see this next move up. We're 2 days, potentially a week away from finding momentum that will shift us higher towards $800. And at that point, cat's out of the bag. At that point, the cat is far out of the bag. It's not going back in the bag. And all we've got to do is sit back and relax. I was trying to say that we're not ready. That's what it was. I got all distracted. We're not ready. I got distracted by my own shenanigans. We've been buying this whole cycle, even trading here and there, but really just largely buying this whole cycle for Bitcoin Cash at various places. And even with that preparation, I still don't think that we're ready. That was the point I'm trying to make. We might not be bullish enough. This move, it's gonna be a weird kind of phenomenon, at least in our psychology, at least what I'm thinking it'll be, if it surpasses my expectations. First and foremost, a move up to $2,300 to $4,300 is stupendous. It is miraculous. It's bigger than we had originally thought it would be throughout most of this range. Most of this range we thought we'd stop here. Things are different now. I say most of this range. We've been consolidating. Things are just different now. We've seen Zcash and Dash pump. We've seen other cryptos pump in their multi-cycle consolidation phases. And the pumps that we get, typically, if Bitcoin Cash does the same type of pumps that we've gotten with Zcash, Dash, XRP, Stellar Lumens, any coin that's been consolidating for multiple cycles and if saw a breakout, the move is typically 600% or more. So that's where we've gotten that from. Again, we might not be ready because we really could see something that takes us to new all-time highs. We could be at 5,000, 6,000. Who knows? This move might end up at 13K. I don't know. It might be so bullish. And the thing is, again, the real psychological phenomenon that's going to happen is all of us, no matter how prepared you are, especially so if you're not prepared, but no matter how prepared you are, you can be the most prepared person for this pump in Bitcoin Cash. And up here, you're going to be like, damn. First and foremost, it makes sense. It makes sense. Of course, we would see this kind of price action because this is the better Bitcoin. So, of course, it's about time that this is realized. I'm surprised that we're not higher. And then also, man, I should have bought more. It's going to be, it's weird because what I'm addressing here is that we're all going to be in this kind of state where we're like completely surprised and blown away by the price action. While at the same time, it's completely obvious and we'll all feel like, I should have bought more. Why didn't I buy more? And we've been doing nothing but buying. You could be completely prepared and still you'll have that thought. Mark my words, it's going to happen. I'm rambling at this point. I'm going to end the video there. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I do expect we're going to get a 40 to 60% pump for Bitcoin Cash versus Bitcoin over the coming days and weeks. Probably, over the weekend we consolidate a little bit, but we should be moving up pretty damn soon. Weekly RSI is spectacular. Stochastics are great. And the MACD is just so small. We can't even see it. MACD looks good as well. Very nice rounded bottom here. We're just waiting for the upside move, which will not just take us up 40 to 60%, but it'll take us up to dramatically higher valuations. Multi-100% pumps versus Bitcoin. We're probably going to run all the way up, I would think, to this area where we found support here, support there, and resistance right there at about 2.4, 2.5%. Bitcoin right now at 92K, I could only imagine if Bitcoin Cash is growing this much versus Bitcoin, that Bitcoin is probably moving up as well. Bitcoin would probably be back above 100K, safe to say, if Bitcoin Cash is all the way up here. 2.5% at 100K is $2,500 on Bitcoin Cash. Likely Bitcoin will be worth more. By the time BCH BTC gets here, I would bet Bitcoin itself is at new all-time highs. So I mean, if we were at $200,000 Bitcoin by the time Bitcoin Cash gets here, that's a $5,000 price for Bitcoin Cash US dollars. And anything else in between 25 to 5,000, I think is very possible. I've got nothing else, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.